if they don't televise that murder, because it's all because of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, if they don't televise that, black lives don't matter. They telling you, you know what I like about Europeans? Man, they sure know how to appease a black man. You know, they sure know how to, it's like a dog on a leash. You know, hey man, we're gonna let him off the leash for a little while. But me and you still ain't in no control. Why? Because the law still don't protect me and you. And see, what Noble Drew Ali is trying to do is get me and you the protection that we deserve. Moors, I talk to a whole lot of different people and even pastors. I done had pastors on the ground. You know, the police got him on the ground. He was a pastor. He was a man of God who's never been in trouble, never did anything wrong. He's on the ground, face down. I mean, I know brothers that got PhDs been on the ground, face down. I know brothers that got master's degrees that's put your hand up, you know, stick your hand out. It's who you are. And it took me and you get who we are. I mean, you can, Negro, blacks, and colors can think that they got it made, and you don't. I mean, being a multi-millionaire, billionaire don't give you legal status. It don't give you legal status. I mean, we can go over some legal cases. I can share some legal cases with you that shows you that it don't matter. The law is the law of the land is what matters. That Constitution that they wrote, that's the law. And that Constitution overrides, I don't care what you do. You know, people don't even understand the three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Them branches of government was put in place for a purpose. And the judicial branch is watching both. The executive branch is watching both. Yeah, it's oversight to make sure you don't do what you're supposed to do. Because we be in an uproar about stuff when they hired another Supreme Court justice. So what? I mean, you know, those are interpreters of the Constitution. What you in an uproar for? They got to interpret the Constitution. If you got a constitutional issue, not as a black person, because we know Dred Scott thought he had a constitutional issue. And you see what they did to him. Rodney King thought he had a constitutional issue. You see what they did to him? Oh, we're going to take him in the state court because me and you don't understand local, state, municipal, and federal law. As a people, we don't understand. We think that law is law. No, it ain't. No, law is not law. The state can make a law and then the feds can come in and say that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. And the state has to back up because they put these laws in place for a purpose. And the laws of America works. Yeah, they do. You know, and I'm a Moorish American. I'm telling you they work. I'm a former Negro, black, and color. These laws work, but they work for the people that they're supposed to protect. They don't work for the people that we're not. Now, if they kill too many Negro, blacks, and colors, you know, somebody going to jail. But, you know, we just got to make an example. We got to make sure he's all right. I mean, do y'all remember? I don't remember the year, but this brother named Rodney King, we sitting there watching it. And they putting a whooping on that brother, hitting him with sticks. I'm talking about they beating this brother. This brother is on the ground. He is submitted. They whooped him. They beat Rodney King. The helicopter is filming it. They are filming the whole beating. They take them cops in the state court and they'll acquit him. They tear Los Angeles out. So the federal government comes in and says they violated his civil rights. Now, you know he went to the state courts for constitutional rights, but they acquitted him because he didn't have no constitutional rights. As a Negro, black, and color, you don't have no constitutional right. And people was in an uproar about that. And I'm like, well, there ain't no need being mad about it. That's just the law. Now, this is what happened after that. After Rodney King, there was a European named Reginald Denny. In this 18-wheeler, they snatched that boy up out that truck and beat. And I mean, brothers snatched him out. Negroes snatched him out and beat him. Caught him. Took him to state court. Convicted him. So then if you don't look at this and see the difference, then, I mean, I don't know what else I can tell you. If you don't see the difference in the treatment of our people versus other people, a black man riding down the street, he got to be careful. I don't care what he's doing. A European riding down the street, he don't have to be careful. Man, they created drug laws for me and you. You know, they made the drug of choice, which me and you are selling as a people. We selling what they call a rock. It ain't even crack. It's a rock. It's cocaine that you take, you cook it, it turns to gel. Once you take it out, it hardens, you cut it, it's cocaine. But they call it crack, and they create a crack law. And guess who was selling that? Negro, blacks, and colors. You can have a gram of a rock and get 10 years. And you can have the same dope in a powder and get probation. Guess who's doing the powder? The European young man. Guess who's selling the rock? The brother. It's a disparity. It's always been a disparity in this country when it comes to blacks and Negroes and colors. It's going to always be one. Why? Because the Constitution is written and that's the law. You're going to say it's racism. When is racism? No, it ain't. It's absolutely not racism. It's the law. And they have to follow the law. Now, do you have some racist people out there that hate me for no purpose other than the shade of my skin? Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's some people that hate me and don't even know me. There's some people who would kill me just because of my skin. But those people been programmed the same way that Negro, blacks, and colors been programmed. You know, because don't think that because you're a European that you live in the life. You know, they got more Europeans on welfare than they got blacks on welfare. When we a member of this country, and the way this country moves is they set the country up. They set this country up. This is what they do to people. They create a condition and they create circumstances. And when the conditions are dire, you're trying to get out of them the best way that you can. And since we know that he's trying to get out of these conditions, what we're going to do is we're going to create an easy way out. We ain't going to educate you. We're going to create an easy way out. Hey, you can make $50,000 in a week selling dope. Who's not going to do that? I mean, I'm poverty. I'm living in poverty. You know, I'm watching my parents struggle. My mom and dad's never been in trouble. Never have they been in trouble. My mama teach school. My dad was a business owner. And our light still got cut off. Why? Because there's so many mouths to feed. And so the first thing I tell my man, I don't want to live like this. So the first opportunity that comes for some criminal activity, I'm like, you mean to tell me I can make $2,000 in a day? I'm going to get that $2,000. I'm not understanding the concept of what happened. I don't understand that the condition and the circumstance that was created in my community was created by somebody. I didn't know that until I met Noble Drew Ali. Then I found out that, oh, okay, I'm the master. I'm the maker of my own condition. Allah didn't make no heaven or no hell. You know, and when the prophets start teaching me, I start seeing for myself. I start picking myself up. First I changed the way I thought. You know, I quit blaming white folks for my condition. I started blaming me. If you think your condition can be better, join the Moorish Temple of America. But I gotta want better conditions, and for my condition to be better, I gotta want better conditions. I wanted better conditions. And I'm saying, man, I followed everything else. Let me get this dude a try. Man, I've been following Noble Drew Ali I've been following Noble Drew. Man, I followed Noble Drew Ali over a cliff because I know over that cliff, it's some glory coming. Oh, I'm jumping over the cliff. If Noble Drew Ali say, Russell Hill, the way to this is this way. I'm like, well, you ain't got to say no more. I'm not going to even question Noble Drew Ali because I know that Allah, God, you can call him Jehovah Jah, it ain't but one God. You know, I know that Allah sent Noble Drew Ali. Why? Because I've never seen an unselfish so-called black man. Never have I seen one until I came into the Moorish Temple of America and met Noble Drew Ali. You know, this is my teacher. In everything, a prophet always comes from among his people. That's what prophet comes from. I mean, they're not sending a European prophet to an Asiatic, you know. And so, you know, I mean, if you know anything about anything, you know, they turned Jesus to a European and we started following Jesus. Why? And see, the mind thing is that whatever Jesus looked like, that's what you fear. And since you make Jesus look like a European, you know, Europeans become your God. And that was their concept. That concept was we're going to turn ourselves into gods because we know who the Moors are. See, me and you not under depression. It's even Moorish Americans have no real clue on what Noble Drew Ali did. When Noble Drew Ali came over here in 1913 and established the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then in 1928 he established the Moorish Science Temple of America, and in between that time this Moorish National and Divine Movement, saying we calling him a prophet because he foreseen the future. We give honors to Noble Drew Ali, and that's all we ever do with Noble Drew. We give him honors for having the foresight and the courage to come to this country and to show me and you that, man, where do Negro, blacks, and colors come from? Who is these Negro, blacks, and colors people that you are calling yourself? You're just like every other race on this planet. Who is this people that you all are calling yourself? So Noble Drew Ali established this Moorish Science Temple of America in 1913. The prophet comes back over here. He comes over here in 1913 and retrieves our flag. And flags represent people. And then Noble Drew Ali knew that I got to do something in particular over here in these 13 colonies, because these 13 colonies is the United States of America. Everybody else just joined. And Noble Drew Ali understood that. I mean, Noble Drew Ali, man, he got to be the smartest man that ever walked this earth, you know, and that's not taking nothing from nobody, you know, because they got some really intelligent Negro, blacks, and colors on this planet. So don't think that Moorish science gives me any authority to put anybody down, because that ain't what Moorish science about. But ain't nobody did what Noble Drew Ali did in this country. See, when he come over here in 1913 and established the Moorish Science Temple of America with that flag, and then ran up all the way to 1928 and established the organization. See, because people don't understand that it's two things going on here. You know, and Noble Drew Ali did it, and he did it in such a way where if you're not a Moorish American, you don't understand the real intelligence of what transpired between 13 and 28. We talking about between 13 and 28, some stuff that transpired over here. And that's why the prophet tells us, he said, the Constitution is one of the greatest documents ever written. That's coming from a prophet. The prophet didn't write the Constitution, so why would he tell me and you that the Constitution, why? Because Allah alone guides this movement. And when the prophet is saying something to me, he's telling me to go see. And that's what he's doing. He's sharing, man, Noble Drew Ali. I mean, I can sit here and talk about Noble Drew Ali all day. I mean, because I can tell you, I understand what he did for me. I ain't gonna tell you where I come from, but you know, I'm gonna show you where I'm going according to this prophet. You know, I ain't no Negro, black, and color. I ain't never been no Negro, black, and color. Those names were given to slaves by slaveholders. And they was supposed to disappear in 1865, but they didn't disappear in 1865. The reason why they don't disappear in 1865, why would we free these people? Why would we give these people equal footing? Why would we tell these people who they are? Because once we tell them who they are, they was great. They're gonna start striving. See, when you, even those brothers and sisters that's in college, you know, they college and they got great jobs, and you know, and man, I make $80,000 a year. They don't really get it. You know, that's just a job. You know, what about your morals and your principles? What about your people? You know, because where I'm from, everybody moves out of the community. Everybody wants to move into the community with the Europeans because they think it's a better community. Why? Because the Europeans made the community what they want it to be. Me and your community is just as great. It's just that me and you is, man, when the conditions of your mind has been plagued with disease and distrust, I mean, you ain't gonna never do no better. Noble Drew Ali teaches brothers and sisters that, I mean, at the bottom of the barrel, that's where I was at. I wasn't at the bottom of the barrel. I was under the barrel. Noble Drew Ali taught me how to think for myself. Noble Drew Ali taught me how to do for self. I mean, I own some businesses I would have never thought that was possible. You know, I mean, my thinking is beyond the universe. Yeah, my thinking is I don't even think with carnal thoughts. I mean, I don't think like that anymore. Why? Because I know that there's some other type of thoughts. I didn't know that. I thought that I was gonna go to hell. I was certainly to go to hell. I don't have those thoughts no more because the prophet taught me how to do for self. The prophet taught me how to go within myself and make my own connection with the Creator, and so that I can be a better person over here in America for my people. Now I got a purpose. uplift fallen humanity. And I've always been determined, but I've never had a purpose. Oh, I'm the most determined person you're gonna ever meet, but I didn't have a purpose. Now I'm determined with a purpose. And the prophet did that. And he started in 1913, and he came up to 1928, and there's some people in the movement decided that, we need to make the movement about ourselves. So here in Houston at Temple 35, we make the movement about who it's supposed to be about. It's about our people. The movement is not about Noble Drew Ali. That ain't why the movement was founded. It ain't the movement. I mean, the most you hear Noble Drew Ali's name is at the beginning when the brother give his praise and honor. He said, I give praises to Allah and I give honors to the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And that's the end of it. Why? Because that's the way it's supposed to be, because our prophet didn't want me and you to get caught up on him. That's why he don't tell us a lot about him. Oh, yeah, you got brothers and, he was this and he was that. Yeah, he's the only brother that ever came over here that actually uplifted somebody for themselves and didn't ask for nothing back. He's the only person that have never asked me for anything. He just say, Russell, do what you're supposed to do. That's all he ever asked me to do. Hey, if you want to be a member of this temple, Russell, just do what you're supposed to do. And what you're supposed to do, I gave you a guideline. I gave you divine constitution, bylaws, additional laws. I gave you Quran questions. I gave you a Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These are just do what you're supposed to do and watch what Allah do for you. And I bear witness of what Allah has done for me. And I bear witness what Allah has plans for us.